Hello and welcome to the Metal Pack Pod, the industry's leading podcast for the global metal packaging market. The Metal Pack Pod is brought to you by the Metal Packager, the number one digital resource for the global metal packaging market. With over 7,000 monthly users in over 150 countries globally, be sure to check us out on metalpackager.com. In today's episode, we welcome Rob Campbell, newly appointed Chief Operating Officer at Roeslein and Associates. With its company recently announcing significant changes to its leadership team aimed at fostering continued growth, Rob provides an overview on these changes, which includes his promotion to COO and Brian Sneed being announced as the new CEO of the company. As well as this, Rob provides his overview on the state of play in the global metal container segment and outlines its endeavouring to build on its rich legacy of excellence. But before we begin the episode, we must give special mention to our sponsors, PPG. We're proud to partner with you, and its range of innovative and sustainable solutions are helping to protect and beautify the world. Now on to today's show. Good afternoon, Rob. Well, I should say good morning for you on the other side of the pond. And looking forward to an interesting conversation. It's certainly been a busy few months within the industry, not least at Roeslein, judging by the recent couple of press releases that have come our way. So, looking forward to an interesting discussion. So, welcome.
Yeah, good to see you again, Alex. Appreciate the time.
No problem at all. And that's probably a nice place to start. You guys have certainly been busy. Generally, July, August tends to be a bit of a downtime in the downtime within the industry. But it seems like you've made quite a few internal changes. So if you could perhaps provide a bit of context and an overview to those changes, that'd be a good place to start.
We have. You know, we understand the downturn in the industry. It's been a really great run, really for almost 15 years, a run of growth for the industry. And, you know, it's just taken a little bit of a pause, and I'm sure it will come back strong. For Roeslein, you know, it's actually, it's been difficult, but it's actually been good in a sense that it has challenged us to continue to look at what we do and diversify even further. One of the things I think for Roeslein, I know a lot of companies and people that maybe are struggling during this downturn in the metal packaging industry. But for us, back 20 years ago, we had seen a downturn in the industry, and the board of directors had really looked at that hard and said, you know, maybe it is time for us to really take a focus and a serious look at diversification for the company. And it's been a journey over the last 20 years, but we've gotten there, and certainly now we are seeing the dividends of diversifying the company. We're still, you know, even after 33 years in business, I mean, there's still, I've heard people say, Roeslein's getting out of the can industry. You know, they're not really focused on that anymore. That's certainly not true. There's still about 80 to 85% of our business, even now, that is still focused in the container manufacturing industry. But we have diversified, and we do see a real steady growth, not only in the traditional energy sector, but also the renewable energy sector that we're providing our services and products to. So overall, it's been very good.
And not least as well, you've some changes in terms of personnel as well. So congratulations on a recent appointment as well. So perhaps you can provide some context there as well. Not least some business changes, but also some personnel changes.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, it's really truly been an honor and a pleasure. I've had my 32nd anniversary here in May, and it's just been a real wonderful place for me to have my career, and I'm looking forward to many more years and seeing it all the way through to the end. I started in 1991 with Rudy. It was the first year of the business for them, and came on in the design group and just really grew from there. Always been challenged. Known my partners for a long time. Obviously, I've known Brian for a long time also. And he and I are brothers, and we make a really good team to drive things forward. You know, the transition, it is somewhat difficult sometimes to think about, transitioning, and Rudy, not being here every day as CEO, but certainly as chairman of the board, he's going to continue to be here and to provide his leadership and his mentorship and guidance that he has over the last 33 years. So we look forward to continuing to hear his ideas and thoughts, and our goal is for him to give us his ideas and for us to continue to execute and implement those. But we're strong. One of the things that we've really focused on, with the transition is who's behind us, who are the successors that are going to come up behind us and fill our shoes. And I can say the last 5 years certainly have challenged us, from a resource standpoint, but also it has challenged a lot of the individuals that are within our company that have really stepped up and shown us, what they can do, what value they add and what talents they have. And overall, we're positioned very, very well for the future for this transition. A lot of good leaders coming up behind us.
Absolutely. There's a lot to unpack there. But first off, I'm just bringing things back to the metal packaging side of things. I mean, the downturn in the market, particularly beginning of this year, has this taken you guys by surprise?
Yeah, it certainly did. Honestly, it did surprise us. We knew at some point that the pace that the industry was going was not sustainable. Yeah, but I think that the quickness, the sudden stop was not anticipated. So it did catch us a little bit by surprise, but we were able to turn fairly quickly. We have had a little bit of scaling, as we call it, to right size for what we believe is where we will be for the remainder of this year and 2024 and beyond. So we did have to do a lot of shifting, and we were able to reallocate engineering and professional services and also manufacturing to other industries. We've actually worked very closely with Roeslein Alternative Energy, which is now part of Roeslein and Associates, as well as our other entities, Method Flow and ServTech, that are serving outside of the metal container industry, and really started to focus more of our resources on the work that they're doing. So yes, it was sudden. It did catch us a little bit by surprise, but we did get together as a board and as the ownership group to come up with a plan to redirect and to continue to move forward. So we're doing okay with that.
What would you say is the ultimate reason for the for this rapid slowdown within the industry? Is there any one thing in particular, or is it a perfect storm of the last few years, which has kind of come to fruition all at once?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that talk about, why, and we've heard a lot of different reasons. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you said perfect storm. Obviously COVID had a significant impact, at least in the United States market, with, people not going out. They were going to the grocery stores and the markets and buying, beverage cans and going home and drinking and consuming. I think that the seltzer market just exploded in the United States. It's amazing how many different brands there were out there. And you've seen that kind of fall off and some of them rise to the top still. I think that there's continues to be, a push back 4 or 5 years ago. It seemed to be even greater, a push to move more towards aluminum or sustainable packaging, and maybe a little bit away from the plastics with the impact that we see that it has on the environment. So I think all those things kind of came to fruition at the same time, and there was a huge push to continue to add capacity in the market, again, certainly in the United States where we saw most of it. And then it slowed down for whatever reasons: economic, war, change in lifestyle, change in maybe just maybe a tapering off of maybe the thoughts about plastic, and not not such the push that we saw maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So all of that being said, when you're going at a pace that is 5, 6, 7 times what the normal pace is. We typically were doing, from greenfield or new line projects every year. Prior to, let's say, 4 or 5 years ago, we were averaging probably, 6 to 8 projects a year. And then the last 3 years, 2020, 2021, 2022, we were probably averaging, 12 to 15 lines per year. So when you have that kind of exponential growth, it's hard to sustain. And we are very bullish. We're very optimistic. We know that it's going to come back. It's just going to take some time, and we all have to be patient and hang in there.
Absolutely, yeah. We need to look at it from a 5, 10, 15-year perspective rather than rather than short-termism, which is can be the case when and I've said it in some of these podcasts we've done in the past, where an industry is often at its weakest when it's at its strongest, and I think that's kind of come to fruition in the last few years, where it's been real positive vibes, and everyone's been sort of overly positive, but when there's external factors at play. And ultimately, I think for me, it's as simple fact is that interest rates are rising pretty much globally, and that means that individuals' consumption habits are reducing.
They change.
So they change.
And I think another good thing that we see out of this too for Roeslein, and I think I see it from the other friends that we have in the industry, manufacturing, the technology. Sometimes these little breaks, these breathers as we call them, in my 32 years here, when we had a little bit of a slowdown, that was the time when we were able to focus within the company, look at what we're doing, look at our processes, look at our products, and say, hey, how can we clean this up? How can we make this better? How can we make it more efficient? And that's what we're doing right now. I mean, we're really focused this year and next. We will spend more money on innovation and our technology development, both software and products and services that we offer. And I know that other companies are doing that too. So, out of that, out of the ashes comes the phoenix, and in a few years we can be better for it and hopefully be more efficient and provide even better products.
Absolutely, you've kind of preempted my next question. Really, it's which is very timely. But it's one of those instances where we're seeing a lot of a drive towards efficiency savings, particularly in the sustainability field. But some companies tend to look at it a different way, and it's an opportunity to innovate. And I'm guessing you guys are the latter there. And are there any innovations that you can perhaps share with us in the short term?
I think the main focus has really again been in the container industry. We have some products outside of the container industry that we're continuing to move forward with in the energy space. But in the metal packaging industry, we continue to look at the products that we currently have. Coolant filters, the LED bottom coat systems now are really starting to get a foothold. Still a lot of development to do on those, but we're moving forward with that and working with many of the coating suppliers to continue to look at how that is curing and what challenges we have in different places around the world and with different climates. And some other products that I really don't want to mention at this point because we are very early on, but we have some great ideas with our team members that we've committed funds for them to continue to explore and develop, and hopefully next year we will be able to actually see some of those come to fruition and roll those out.
No, absolutely. Yeah, we look forward to covering those announcements in due course when they arrive. Just want to take things back slightly. You mentioned earlier about some of the executive team promotions that we're seeing. Seems like a lot of long servers within the company, which is obviously a real coup for you guys. But that also potentially creates some issues with when people look to maybe move on or retire or do something different, that they take that knowledge with them. So is that something you guys are mindful of, and are you bringing any initiatives in to try and hopefully avoid that brain drain that we are seeing within the industry? Not saying that's the case at Roeslein, but from what I'm hearing within the industry, it is a huge challenge for the next 10 to 15 years for sure.
Yeah, I think the ethos and culture that we've had here, Alex, we've had a very strong retention of people. I think that there is to say that Roeslein's different. I truly believe that we are. And maybe it's just me being here 32 years and coming from a Midwest background and the work ethic that we see here in the Midwest of the United States. But we have very loyal employees. And I think that, it's a two-way street. The success of Roeslein is about how the employees and all of us, but how we treat each other. And, I think that we have had, good people leave that have had other opportunities to grow, with different companies. And it is sad sometimes to see them leave, but we do know and trust that they will take, what they've learned, but they won't take what we do necessarily, and proliferate that, to other places. So, we've been as guarded, as I say, as we feel comfortable with. We try not to restrict our employees. We want them to really think about, and use their brain power to make this place better and make the products and the services that we provide better. But if they take that and move that on to another company that maybe hopefully isn't in conflict with what we're doing, and as we try to grow and serve the industries, that's okay. That's okay. If it makes them better and makes another place better, that's okay too.
We interrupt this episode for a brief segment from our sponsors, PPG.
Packaging coatings from PPG draw on our company's 140-year history of innovation. We never stop improving our solutions to meet the evolving needs of can makers and the marketplace. That spirit of innovation results in technology like the cradle-to-cradle platinum-rated PPG Innovel Pro. PPG Innovel Pro is the latest enhancement to the world's #1 non-BPA beverage can coating. It still doesn't use any bisphenol ingredients, but experienced can makers report that it now sprays like an epoxy. Follow PPG Packaging Coatings on LinkedIn or visit packagingcoatings.com to learn more about why PPG is the coatings partner for can making excellence.
So with that being invested in potentially recruitment programs, and also issues such as like working with local universities, etc., to get the next generation of talent, or are you looking to potentially recruit within the industry from other companies or perhaps outside the industry? It's just interesting to know how you guys are looking to potentially bring new talent to the industry, not least in this
For sure.
the metal container field, but maybe in other industries that you're in as well.
For sure. That's a good topic that we can talk a long time on. Recruitment. We realized probably 10 years ago that how important recruiting early is, and it's not just us. I mean, it's the world we live in. And I know I've talked to Andrew Truelove, at CMV about the recruitment programs and the apprenticeships and the wonderful things that they've done for years there. And, I think there's been a movement back into the U.S., whether it's apprenticeships for, the skilled trades, or, doing internships, as we call them, out of universities. We've really last 10 years focused heavily on that. Probably averaged between 20 and 25 interns every year from various universities, not only in the state of Missouri area, but nationally, that have come in. And why is it important? First of all, for us, it allows us to really try before we buy, as we say, and see, not necessarily just their talents, but what kind of people are they? What are their values? What are their aspirations? Work ethic, all those things. It also, for them, gives them a great opportunity to come in a formalized program and really see what we're all about. And honestly, we've had at the end of the summers, we have a presentation day or two where the interns present in front of the ownership group. And we've had some of them, quite honestly, say that they absolutely loved it here, but they know this is not the career path for them. So it's good to get that out of the way while they're in college, right? No sense of hiring somebody and training them for 3 years to only find out that they're leaving because it's not what they want to do. So that has been a big focus of ours. And I think we've had very good success in bringing in some very young talent that can come in at the ground and move up. And we've had some now that have been here for over 10 years that have moved up into leadership management roles. And they bring something that I will say, at my age, I feel like I'm starting to lose it. which is the understanding of the technology and the innovation that's out there and the capabilities and how to really apply it to the world that we live in today. It's amazing. And I want to stay up on it. I am a bit of a techie guy. I love to have the gadgets, but it is harder and harder as the years go by to stay up on that. So I'm happy to have that younger crowd help me for sure.
Absolutely, and yeah, it was an interesting point you just made. The fact getting young people on board, but kind of the way young people that they tend to move jobs sort of every 3 or 4 years, and sort of my father's generation, for instance. I mean, he had 2 jobs in his working life, and that was kind of seemed to be the standard. Whereas yeah, the younger generation seem to get bored or opportunities, and they like the fact that they can move on. Is that a challenge for you guys with recruiting in all of your businesses, or is that just kind of the way the modern world is now? And because I'm just trying to spin this question to you, because yeah, you guys have got a lot of long servers, and just wondering the next generation of Roeslein employees, is that necessarily going to be the case?
That's a very good question. I'm gonna steal a page from Rudy's book on this one. You know, it's one thing to work for a great company and to work with great people. I mean, that's a lot of it. We spend 8-10 hours a day every day with people. So you have your home family, but you have your work family too, and you have to have respect and really enjoy coming to work. But the other side of it, and this is the page out of Rudy's book, is you have to be passionate. You have to really love what you're doing. If you're just coming in and you're not really enjoying what you're doing, you're not driven, Rudy says it's okay. If you want to move down the road and find something else that you can be passionate about, go for it. You need to do that because you're going to work 30, 40, plus years of your lifetime. Don't do it in a line of work or in a career that you cannot be passionate about, whatever that is, whether it's metal packaging, race car driving, firefighting, whatever it is. Have a passion for it, have a love for it, and move forward in that direction. So I think we have a mix here. I think that we find passionate people that really like what we do, and they have the mix of a good ethos, a company that is respectful of their employees and really truly value each one of their employees. And I think that combination really brings us together for a strong team that doesn't maybe have the turnover that maybe some other companies do. So that certainly helped. And when you invest the time and they invest their time and effort and energy, you don't want to see that go away for in 2 or 3 years. And definitely, yes, it has changed. Through COVID, when that hit and we all went home, there were several of us, including myself, that never missed a day. I still came in the office. I tried. I'll say I missed a day. There was a day or two that I tried to stay home and work, but it just wasn't for me. It's just not the way I was kind of raised through my career. So I still felt like, even though the office was empty, there was only 2 or 3 of us here. I felt like I had to come in here and sit at my desk. But times are changing. The younger generations are they're more mobile. They are willing and able to pick up and to move and to transition to different job opportunities, and they are looking at flexibility, and it is very important. I think that that's something that as the generations as we move forward generationally, that times are changing, and then flexibility in the workplace is important for the family life. And for the balance of the employees, between their work-life balance, I think it is important. So we are having to pay attention to that. And after COVID was over, during COVID, we were pretty much all at home. Within the last, I would say, year and a half, we announced and made the decision to all come back to the office. And the reason really primarily behind that was that in the work that we do and really being project driven, it is important for our project teams, especially with younger, people, less experienced people, to be together. And, sometimes you could be on a Teams or a Zoom call and be listening, but, it doesn't make up for being in the office, in the room, or on the other side of a cubicle wall and hearing a conversation and it piquing your interest and you walking over there and say, hey, I'm not sure I understood that, how we do that or what you're talking about. Can you explain that to me? And that happens a lot. That happens a lot in our offices, that camaraderie and that just coming together to talk about, what we do, how we do it, why we do it, all the things that are important. So.
No, it's a very good point. I mean, we had an episode with Dan Abramovitz from Crown, and he made a similar point. The whole water cooler moments where people just have a conversation over a coffee, and that kind of, you can't replicate that over a Zoom call or a Teams call or working remotely. So these modern forms of technology have its uses, such as today, as being able to have a conversation and do something here. But it's about maintaining that balance. And I think it sounds like you guys are certainly flourishing in terms of understanding the needs of the modern employer, the employee, so to speak. One thing I was going to touch upon, Roeslein, very much the whole Roeslein way and being very much employee driven is very important in terms of the ethos. I mean, as the business has grown, you've a very sizable company now in terms of how many people you employ. Is that now tougher as a result? Because you talk about them being sort of a family-focused business and everyone being very close by the nature of the amount of people that when a company grows, that can become impossible. So I'm just wondering how you guys have adapted as a result, because the success you've had before can also be a detriment as you grow. Trying to maintain that growth organically can be tough. So sorry, there was a few questions there, but I just thought I would throw that question to you.
It's a topic that is always top of mind, I will say, with us, because it is so important. We can do a lot of great things, but if we don't keep the original culture that Rudy and Fritz Dickman, planted those seeds, 33 years ago, for me, that makes all the difference in the world. I worked for another company, out of college for a year, and completely different culture and feel, if you will, and probably would not have stayed there, very long. So I think one of your questions was, how do we maintain it? And I think that it's just proliferating this through the organization and making sure that, if there are individuals or people that don't, are really not in alignment with our ethos and our culture, that we address it. Don't let those things fester, because it can be highly detrimental, and even just kill the morale if you're not taking action on people that are not being respectful or doing the things in the way that we believe they need to be done. You have to certainly take action on those. With our regional approach that we've really went on a journey, 5 years ago, well, I'll say even 10 years ago, 11 years now in Shanghai. It has been challenging, for sure. Has been, I would say, one of the biggest challenges. And for me personally, being here so long, that is, one of the things that I've taken, a very vested interest in making sure and trying to promote that and assure that all of the boats that we have in the water now, all of them are moving in the same direction, from a business standpoint, but also from a cultural and an ethos standpoint. And I can tell you, I'm very proud, as prior to being COO, being the president of the manufacturing division, I had oversight of the manufacturing locations, both internationally and domestically. And I really am proud of all of them. I'm really proud that they've made their own way. They've made their own. There's certain things that especially internationally, there's cultural differences, but they've embraced the Roeslein way and really moved forward in the direction that we've always wanted them to move forward, and they continue to grow. And I think that as they continue to grow, they blossom, and they they take on their own special kind of unique ways of maybe doing things and working with the individuals within that organization, whether it be Poland or Brazil or Shanghai or the locations domestically. But the foundation is so strong. They still carry that foundation. They understand it. They ask a lot of questions about it, honestly. And it's something that we do every year. We really put a lot of emphasis on feedback from all of our employees. We do surveys. We do surveys here in St. Louis. We have surveys that we have at all the locations. We ask the questions. We try to get in front of the employees. We have an open door policy. I see people walk into Rudy's office all the time, and ask them questions. And, sometimes that can be frustrating when you're trying to sell something, you're trying to get a proposal out the door. You've got a customer that needs you and you don't want to let them down, and somebody's coming in and asking questions, but it's important. That's just as important, because everybody in the organization, if we don't row together, we're all here together. It's not one person. It's all of us working together. So I don't know if that answered your questions.
No, absolutely. No, that was, certainly a really interesting take on how you're trying to grow organically and ensure everyone is steering in the same direction. And
I do want to, sorry to interrupt. I do want to say one thing too that I always think about a lot. There's a lot of people on this world, a lot of smart people, different companies. I mean, I can look out the window and I can see, multitudes of companies. They have people just like you and I. We're all people. They're all good in their own ways. The secret sauce is how you bring them together.
Yeah.
And how you make them work together as a team. And, if you have just a bunch of individuals that are doing things, anybody can do that. You can hire and pay, whatever, and get people in there. But if you can bring them together collectively, it doesn't really matter what industry you're in. You're going to have brilliant people, engineers, accountants, project managers, manufacturing, skilled labor. You're going to have it. And if you bring it all together and they're working together, you're going to really have a great thing. And I think that's what we do.
Absolutely, and it's the skill of senior management team as well to ensure. I think it's the famous quote, isn't it? To make sure you're employing people that are smarter than yourself, because it's
absolutely
getting the talent involved. So no, yes. Absolutely, and thanks for that. So really interesting point. But just to mention one thing you said there about some of your new facilities, and not least perhaps for our listeners who aren't so well acquainted with Roeslein, a nice opportunity for you to introduce your developments, not least in Poland, which I was lucky enough to attend the open day there, which was a really fun event. So if you could just provide some context on that, that'd be great.
Sure. We went on a journey about 11, 12 years ago because we just saw the need to be in other parts of the world. So we really focused first on the Asia market. A lot of friends there, a lot of business there, and we just needed to be there. We see the challenges and the environmental impact, to be honest, of building our products and providing our services, and just the sheer shipping and the travel and the importation costs and all of those things that are incurred when you're building something, in one spot and trying to deploy it, around the world. So, we went on that journey first in Shanghai. It was very successful and continues to be very successful. And we just saw that we needed to do that, in other continents and be more regional. And, I think that, the beyond the benefits of financial savings, hopefully for our customers and being better stewards of the blue marble that we live on and the environmental impact, is that it has allowed us to be more proactive, I will say, with our customers, that they don't have to call, 5-6 time zones away to get a hold of us if they do have a need. If they do have something simple, hey, we've got an issue at a plant. We want to do. There's several projects right now that we're looking at in Europe and in Brazil that are smaller projects. And 4 or 5 years ago, we might have said, we just can't help you because we're too far away, and it's going to, we're going to have to come down there and spend all this money just to get there to look at it. Now that's not the case. We have the talent and the right people locally that can get in the car many times and just drive or get on a short flight and go see a plant or go see a customer at their office and have discussions about, small projects, upgrades, innovations, just having lunch and telling them, hey, we're here to help. I think Roeslein over the years, we've the perception has been, hey, call Roeslein if you've got a greenfield, new mega line that you want to put in. That's not true. We're here and we'll do any size project, and we enjoy the small ones just as much as we do the big ones. And many times the small ones are even more fun because they're more challenging. You're going into existing facilities and working with the team at the plant level to figure out, hey, how are we going to get this done? And by the way, we can't shut production down, so we got to keep running. Mm-hmm. So the regional approach that we've taken has certainly bolstered all of that and really allowed us to have talented people around the world. I'm not gonna say that we're not going to continue to grow, because we are, and certainly even outside of the metal packaging industry, we are looking heavily now at Brazil and Europe to really grow in the other sectors that we're supporting and providing our services to.
That sounds really exciting, and perhaps that's a conversation for another podcast.
Sure.
The potential growth there. But just want to just a couple more questions really about yourself.
Sure.
I mean, you've been in the industry for a number of years now, and it's just a question I like to ask the guests on occasions. I mean, the industry has certainly changed somewhat during that period, and I'm just curious: do you still have the drive and the passion for the industry as you did when you first joined? I mean, because something funny enough, at a recent trade show, someone said to me that the industry has kind of become a lot more professional, but it's kind of lost its not its spirit, but it's kind of the characters involved are perhaps not quite there anymore, and it's just it's not quite the fun industry that it used to be. And I'm a relative newbie, have been in the industry for around 10 years, but just for someone such as yourself who's been in the industry a while, I'm just curious in your take whether that fun aspect of the industry is still there, despite the fact that it's become a lot more professional.
For me, and maybe I'm an anomaly, but for me, I'm as excited to get up every day and to come here and to be a part of this industry that I was when the first day that I walked into that small office in South County in St. Louis, and saw Rudy and the 8 of us that were there at the time. And I that may sound crazy, but I just think that, I still get excited every day. I love what we do. I love solving problems. I love helping our customers. I love working with the people here, and I love working with our suppliers to figure it all out. And it doesn't necessarily have to be this industry. If it was other industries, I maybe would feel the same. But there's a lot of friends in this industry, as Alex. I mean, you've attended a lot of the shows, and that it's a very tight-knit group. But that I do feel that we were all, even sometimes when we're competitively bidding, against others, we're still friends. We're still all in this. We have a love for the package that we're able to produce and put out through the world. And I think that there's a lot of good people in this industry that have, a lot of good things still to say and to do. And there's an excitement. I think right now, yes, it's definitely, there's people that have concerns about where the industry is going and the downturn, but it's going to come back. It's going to come back, and it's going to be strong. It's, if you look at the, even at a 3% growth a year, globally, there's a lot of projects that are going to come online over the years, and it's going to continue to grow. I think it'll continue to take its share, or the metal package will take its share out of the plastics industry. And it's going to be an exciting it's going to continue to be an exciting industry to be in. A lot of new people, so it'll make it even more challenging as the new people come in. They get the experience. We have to teach them and tell them the old stories about how we used to do it, and these god awful places that we used to have to go to and spend months and living in containers and putting in can plants. But that's all fun. That's all fun stuff for me.
Absolutely, and that's probably a nice place to conclude. And just final question: it seems like even though the market has slowed within the metal container business, overriding optimism for the future. It sounds like.
I'm very optimistic. I try to be a very optimistic person, in my life and everything that I do. And it is hard sometimes, but we've seen this, over my 32 years here. We've seen this a couple of times, and again, it's always a good time when there is a little bit of a slow period to look back and reflect on what we've done well, but what we haven't done so well, and try to improve on those things and try to be better next time. And we're in it for the long haul. We're not going to go anywhere. We're going to continue to grow, and we're going to continue to innovate and provide the best services and products we can for our customers. So I'm excited about it and looking forward to many, many more years of coming in here and looking and saying, hey, what can I do today? What can I do better today? And how can I help?
And I think that's an excellent statement to end there. And it's a motto for not just business, but life in general. So no, it's been a real pleasure. So no, thanks very much for your time, Rob. And
you're welcome, Alex.